The True Crime Society podcast contains adult themes and violence and is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
If you'd like to skip the intro, please refer to the timestamp listed in the episode description. Thank you.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the True Crime Society podcast with Stephanie and Olivia. It is, April 11th here, 2024. It is a rainy, sad, depressing day here. It was nice for a couple days. We had some 60, 70 degree days this week, and now it's raining again, so...
It's actually beautiful, sunny. Like, it's fresh in the mornings here now, but it's so pleasant and sunny and beautiful. When I went out this morning to drop the kids off, there isn't a cloud in the sky, which is amazing. It's going to be 74 today, so that's quite pleasant.
Nice.
Just looking up the conversions. So, no, enjoying this autumn weather.
74 is like hot here. I feel like. Well, not really. It's like nice.
I think it said it's like 71 now or something already, but I've actually got a massive coat on because I feel like it's still fresh, even though it's warm in the sun, but it's still fresh in the shade.
Yeah. This week has been really crazy.
I feel like everyone is just extra this week. Like, there's a lot going on.
I think everyone's like feeling crazy, feeling effects from other people being crazy because there's retrograde, there was the eclipse, but I saw the eclipse. I used my little glasses and I saw it. It was cool.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, it's just been stressful, and I feel like we've even noticed it online. People have been acting crazy. And
well, even I don't know, I can't remember what episode we spoke about it, if it was this one or Patreon, but I was speaking last week about how the weather was meant to be expected to be crazy, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. They're making a massive deal about it. Like, I think I said they were calling it Black Friday because of the amount of rain we were going to have. And it did rain, and I was like, and even when I went to sleep last Friday night, I was like, oh, this is very pleasant. It's like white noise. It's lovely rain. Anyway, when I woke up in the morning, we had 8 or 9 trees fall down. Like, I didn't hear any of it because I guess the rain was so heavy. But like, these trees all in a big row just all fell down because the ground was so wet that the ground couldn't sustain these trees any longer. I was like, what is going on? This is so unbelievable. And even my brother, who lives not too far away from me, a massive tree fell in their place and just missed their house. It fell on their cars. Like, and theirs was a huge gum tree. So like, crazy, crazy times.
yeah. You showed me the pictures, and it's crazy that it's just from the ground being so wet and not even the wind or anything.
And even when we went down, like, because we went to have a look where these trees are, because thankfully they aren't near our house. They were just kind of down a little bit. But the ground is like a sponge. Like, it's this weird, because I guess over the years we've had so much rain with this El Nino or La Nina or whatever it is, that the ground just basically can't absorb any more water.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy. That was the crazy way to start the week, and then it got even crazier with the eclipse and everything like that.
For me, it's just like all the house stuff as usual.
And you had the earthquake.
We had the earthquake, yeah. I can't remember like what I talked about when because of our recording.
I think the earthquake was after we recorded.
It must have been after.
Yeah.
But it's like I've talked about it with so many people that I'm like, did I talk about it on the podcast? I don't even know. Yeah, we had an earthquake. It was the first time I ever actually really like felt an earthquake. But it's weird because we don't usually really get them here, or not enough that you could feel it. But I was at work, and I work in a building with big machines. So sometimes like you'll feel the ground vibrate kind of, or sometimes, not to be rude, but when people who are a little bit heavier walk by, you'll feel the ground like kind of shake a bit, which I don't know if that means the building structure is shittier, but you definitely do. But me and my 2 coworkers in the room I was with, we were just like talking, and I felt it, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then my one coworker, Josh, sometimes he listens to the podcast, so hey Josh, if you're listening, he was like, "Is the ground shaking?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." Then we all just like were looking at each other, and then my other coworker was like, "All these carts are shaking," and they were all shaking, and I was like, "Is this an earthquake?" And then I texted my friend on the other side of the building. I was like, is there just an earthquake or is the building about to collapse? And she was like, I don't know. I felt it too. And then I texted my mom and my sister is like, a half hour away where she works, and she felt it there too. So I was like, it's definitely an earthquake.
Everyone's felt it.
Yeah, except my parents both didn't feel it because they were driving, and Mike was at work and he was driving like the floor cleaning machine, so he didn't feel it either. But then later that day, or the next day, or I think it was that day, just at the end of the day, we got like an aftershock that was also like a 4.0. I think the earthquake was like a 4.8, and then the aftershock was a 4.0, and me and Mike were sitting on the couch, and he felt it, and he was like, "Is that it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's it," because I felt an earthquake one time, so I'm a professional. But he was happy to have felt it since he missed the first one. Yeah, so kind of a weird week with so much going on. My heater is also broken, my furnace. Well, it keeps shutting off and resetting itself, and then we have to go down to like underneath the house to reset it. Someone's coming on Monday to look at it again. I'm hoping I don't have to get it replaced, but it's just like another thing on top of all the other things.
Yeah.
But so yesterday I was going to go down and reset it because Mike wasn't here, and the basement of our house, you have to go outside to get to it, and it has like those doors that are kind of in the ground almost, and then you go down steps and it's like dirt and cement. So I opened the first two doors, and we have these things. I posted a picture on my Instagram story if anyone follows me. We have these things, they're called camelback crickets, but they're crickets that look like spiders. They have the longest legs, and they're so horrific. And I opened it, and there was like 5 on the walls, and I'm not even joking, they all turned and looked at me. I know it was because like I probably opened the door and there was like light, and they were like, ah, but just they all turned and looked at me, and the fear I felt was sickening.
They're like, what are you doing? Why are you in our space?
They're like, excuse us, ma'am. But I was just like having a bad day already because work's been crazy because some people are on vacation, and I've just been stressed out. And I was like, bitch, you can go down there. I'm not really scared of bugs. They don't bother me too much. But those, for some reason, I was frozen. I was like afraid. And I was like, go down there. You can't turn on the furnace and you're going to be cold. And I stood there and I just stared at them, and they were just staring at me. And then I felt the tears in my eyes coming, and I called my mom, and I was like, Mom. I was like, she's like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't go down to the furnace because there's crickets.
She's probably like, oh my gosh, something's happened.
Well, I was already texting her being like a miserable bitch. And then I just sat on my back deck and was like crying on the phone to my parents, and my neighbor was out on his back deck that faces my yard. He was just like grilling. He was like, who is this crazy bitch just sobbing in her yard that just moved here? So it's been a week.
It definitely has.
I like how we were like, 2024 is our year. I still haven't felt it yet. Maybe this means the end of the year will just be like really great.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, surely.
Yeah. Honestly, I know no one's going to hear this till next week, but let's all hope for a great Friday. I mean, when you guys hear it, it'll still be a Thursday, so your next Friday.
Yeah, it's good. It's coming. I'm feeling it.
Anyways, speaking of a crazy week, today was a crazy day. Not to like get back into it, but I like cried before 8:30 in the morning today because work was just out of control and I was very overwhelmed. And I get the notifications for alerts on my phone to my watch also. So I was like working away, trying my best to like not lose my mind. And I got a TMZ alert on my watch, and I looked at it, and you know what it says? O.J. Simpson dead at 76. And I was like, what?
I was actually shocked as well. I was just saying I probably shouldn't have been shocked because we all knew he was sick, but I didn't know he was that sick. So it was shocking, even though it probably shouldn't be.
So I had to like drop everything I was doing and announce to everyone. I was like, guys, O.J. Simpson's dead. O.J. Simpson's dead. Guys, did you hear over there? O.J. Simpson's dead. And everyone's like, what? Really? Like everyone was shocked.
Yeah.
But I was just saying to you, I don't know. We do a celebrity death pool in our Death After Dark group. And then me and my friend also have one. I just use the same pics. But I put OJ in my death pool this year, and I specifically remember just like thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll put OJ Simpson. I was like, I just have a feeling. Like I just felt it that he was going to die this year.
I looked in my death pool and I was certain I had him, but I must have somehow omitted him, which is not great for points.
Oh no. Yeah, so he's older than I thought too.
Still a solid
76.
24 points, but
24 points. People are gonna be like, you guys are sick.
when everyone does it, not everyone, a very large amount of people do this. It's not just us.
Yeah, I know it's dark, but it's just silly.
So after he died, his family made a statement. It says, on April 10, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asks that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. And so, as you can expect, he was a very controversial figure, probably a murderer. There's been a lot of people basically saying good riddance. Caitlyn Jenner actually said good riddance. Ron Goldman's father has spoken out. So Ron was likely one of OJ's victims, and he said it was no great loss. The only thing I have to say is it's just a further reminder of Ron being gone all these years.
Mm-hmm.
One statement I have found interesting, and obviously this has just happened in the last few hours, so no doubt there'll be more statements, but one I have found interesting is from Gloria Allred, who represented Nicole Brown Simpson's family during the trial, and she basically said that his death is a reminder of how the justice system has failed women in abusive relationships. She said, Simpson's death reminds us that the legal system, even 30 years later, is still failing battered women, and that the power of celebrity men to avoid true justice for the harm that they inflict on their wives or significant others is still a major obstacle to the right of women to be free of the gender violence to which they are still subjected.
Yeah.
So that's quite a powerful statement and a very true one.
She just whipped that right up. Like,
yeah. I wonder how long she had it ready for.
Whenever I hear things like that, I'm like, yes, these are all my thoughts, but I can never articulate them this well.
I bet she had that written for 10 years, just ready and waiting.
Yeah. I did also see he apparently owes Nicole's family and Ron's family like over $100 million. So that'll probably be coming out of his estate if he has that.
I doubt he has that. I feel like when they award these amounts of money to people,
it's like, who has that?
It's like a token gesture, like just, I guess.
Like you'll never see it.
No,
but...
exactly. Like maybe be a bit more realistic and give them a few million or something. But I have no doubt that he's worked out ways to hide whatever assets and money he did have. So I doubt they'll be seen much.
Yeah. I was thinking, this is like the overly empathetic or sympathetic part of me where I'm like, oh, I feel like kind of bad for his family because I'm sure they still loved and believed him to an extent. Now he's dead and they're probably a little sad. And now everyone's just talking shit like, good, fuck him, he's dead. But, I guess that goes back to him being a jerk and did it to himself and his family. So.
Yeah, and you know what? He lived a good life, as in he was free. He was out there playing golf, living his best life. So he didn't get what he deserved. Like, obviously he's dead now, but he still lived a very full, fun, it seems, life after the murders. So
I'd love to know. I was reading through like icebreaker questions for something else we're gonna record, and one of them was like, what's like questions that you'd really want to know the answer to? And I thought we think about that with cases, like what's a case you'd really want to see solved. I'd love to just I'd love to just know 100%, like, did he do it? So I could just be like, you know what, confidently, fuck you, OJ. So that is that.
Before we move on from that, I did say, I think it was you must have posted the funny meme, and it's like, at least OJ can rest peacefully knowing that Nicole's killer has finally died.
Yeah. He's done a lot of nonsense over the years. So yeah, just another crazy thing and a crazy week. Earthquakes, eclipses, floods, torrential rain, Noah's Ark shit in Australia, and OJ Simpson has died. And there's still one more day, so what else will happen? We've got another update. Yeah, we're going to talk about Dylan Rounds. We did a podcast on him a while ago now. It seems like it's been forever.
Yeah.
And they finally found his remains.
Which was very unexpected. Like, I know in long-term missing people cases, you just like, oh, maybe they'll never be found. But just a quick refresher on that case, Dylan vanished from Lucin, Utah on Memorial Day weekend in 2022. So he was 19 at the time he vanished. I don't want to get too much into it because you can listen to the episode for a full background, but basically he'd bought a farm. He was like very young, accomplished, getting things started, and he went missing on that weekend. There was a man named James Brenner who a while ago was charged with aggravated murder and abuse of a human body in connection to Dylan's disappearance. So James had been kind of squatting in a trailer next to Dylan's property at the time of the murder, which is kind of how they knew each other, I guess. On Tuesday this week, April 9, James led police to Dylan's burial site. He was found in a remote part of northern Utah near the Nevada line. Dylan's mum, Candace Cooley, spoke to East Idaho News, and she said, "We thank everyone for their support and love. We are grateful we now have Dylan's body and can bring him home as we continue our fight for justice." Candace has said that James led them to Dylan as part of a plea deal, so I'm assuming we'll probably find out a little bit more about that as time goes on. The Box Elder County Sheriff made a statement on Facebook. They said the FBI assisted the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office by processing the area for evidence and recovering the remains. The remains are in possession of the Utah Office of the Medical Examiner for confirmation of the identity. Our hearts go out to the family of Dylan. We offer our sincerest condolences for the loss of their family member. We understand that the pain of their loss is immeasurable, and we want to express our deepest sympathies to them. It is our hope they can find peace moving forward. So I did see a statement, I think it was today or last night, that they have actually identified the remains already as Dylan. I'm assuming maybe by dental records or something like that. But the remains are Dylan. This is a case where we've had a ton of people asking us what the motive was. Usually you can kind of figure it out, whatever, financial, whatever. In this case, it's not so clear. We don't really know. I know we did speak about it in the earlier episode. Like, could it have been an argument about James squatting? There was also rumors about Dylan's sexuality, which we don't know. Like, obviously we can't verify these things, but maybe as time goes on, we'll find out a bit more. But at this stage, we just do not know why he did it.
Yeah, it was always one of those ones that just seemed almost so random to me. Like, the whole situation was random. How they were together in the same area was random. There's so many questions, and you still don't really know. Like, it seems so senseless and pointless.
There was one other rumor too that Dylan maybe had, if I remember rightly, his phone recording at the time that whatever happened. Like, he kind of knew that something was up and it was recording. Obviously, we have never seen that footage, and that has never really been verified. Yeah. But it's just kind of another rumor in the case, which is how they were able to charge James quickly, or without a body or anything like that. So hopefully we'll hear more as time goes on now that Dylan has been found.
Okay, and we've got another update that I know we've all been following. We got some updates on Jennifer and James Crumbley, who are Ethan Crumbley's parents, with the Michigan school shooting that we've talked about. So on Tuesday, the parents of Ethan Crumbley were each sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. Jennifer, she spoke in court and began by expressing her condolences to the victims and their families. She also said in a previous statement that she made on the stand in her own defense during the trial in February, she was trying to say that everything was completely misunderstood, and she said that she's asked herself if she would have done anything differently, and she wouldn't have. Imagine being like the victims' families and being like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, wouldn't have done anything different? Yeah. No, not even like brought him home from school. But before the sentencing, she said that if she did know that her son was capable of such crimes, that she would have absolutely done things differently.
It's funny, so, isn't it? When you're actually getting punished, you can reflect and say, I would have changed whatever.
Yeah, you're suddenly insightful.
Yeah.
James Crumbley, he apologized to the victim, something he said he had not been able to do yet. He said he was not aware his son was planning a school shooting. Well, I hope not. And he asked the judge to sentence him in a fair way. So he did a poll on Instagram, said, do you think these sentences are fair? 62% said yes, adequate punishment. 28% said no, they should have gotten longer. 9% said this is too harsh of a punishment. So people either agree for the most part, or I think they should have gotten more time. I mean, it's hard to say. The part of me that's like, yeah, fuck them, is like, yeah, put them in jail forever. But I guess they're not like violent offenders.
They're just negligent. So, well, yeah. When I say just negligent, obviously their negligence caused many people to die. But
yeah, and then you're like, there's 4 dead kids. Yeah. So is 10 to 15 years enough?
I feel like I'm probably in the adequate punishment as well.
Same.
Like, even I know it's not the same, but when we talk about Ruby Frankie, how she could maybe get out in 4 years, or she could be up for 30 or 40 years or whatever it was. But it's such a range. Whereas I feel like 10 to 15 years it seems like a fair punishment for their involvement in the crimes.
Yeah, I agree. The realistic, like, logical part of me is like, yes, that is good.
Yeah. And sometimes you're shocked. You're like, wow, I didn't think they'd get that much. Or wow, they should have got more in that case. I'm like, oh yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. And then we did another poll just because you could do polls on Instagram captions now. So I'm trying to do that a little bit more for things. It's hard to remember to do, but I did one for that. And I just did fair or unfair. 91% said fair, 9% said unfair, and that was with 876 responses.
That basically lines up exactly almost with the other one too, because 9% said together. No, it's too harsh. So even though there was one more option, it still lines up exactly.
Yep. So that is it for that saga.
So before we get into the episode, we're going to hear a word from today's sponsor, Thrive Market. One thing everyone has to do is grocery shop. And I know that, sometimes we don't want to go. It's too busy, too hard to find the time. It's so great that you can do it from the comfort of your couch. And that's where Thrive Market comes in. The no junk food, healthy grocery store that even kids love. So Thrive Market can be your go-to for all grocery and household essentials, and the convenience of getting everything online then quickly shipped to your doorstep is a huge time saver.
I've said many times before, I hate going to the grocery store. I used to blame it on the fact that there was no parking at my old apartment, but now that I have a driveway, and that's not even an excuse, and I still don't want to go to the grocery store, I've realized it's just I don't like going to the grocery store. So I've been using Thrive Market, and it's really cool. It comes very fast. There's so many cool different things that you could get. I got some Good Pop organic freezer pops, and I got this whole bag of Yum Earth organic lollipops, which has been a lifesaver because I love a little sweet treat, and they're so tiny. And in the morning on my way to work, I just throw a couple in my bag, and then I remember in the middle of the day that I have them, and I'm like, yay! And next time, I haven't tried ordering any of the like meats or anything yet, but they have like meats and all different things. So I think I'm going to try that in my next one.
Thrive Market carries brands with the highest quality ingredients and sourcing methods. You can get organic kids snacks, low sugar alternatives, or gluten-free pantry essentials. Save time and money and shop Thrive Market today. Go to thrivemarket.com/TCS for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/TCS, thrivemarket.com/TCS.
Hey, it's Stephanie. Quickly, just wanted to pop on. I'm literally in my car right now, not on a microphone, but I just wanted to say we recorded the first part of this episode before the most recent developments in this story where some people were arrested and all that. So just keep that in mind as you listen to it, but we do have the update information at the end. But if you hear us talking about it as if there hasn't been arrests yet, that's why, because when we recorded this, none of that information was known yet. All right, thanks. Enjoy the episode. So we're going to talk about two women who are missing out of Oklahoma named Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. They went missing on Saturday, March 30th, 2024. So very recent one, but it is very strange and a lot of people are very into it. There's not like a ton of information out yet, but
it's so weird because I feel like it's actually a really crazy case. So it seems like there's a lot of media attention, but there's actually nothing really, like, not when I say nothing to talk about, there's enough for us to talk about, but there should be more, I feel like, in this case.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, quick summary is two women were going to pick up one of their kids from a grandma's house, and they never made it there. Their car was then found abandoned, and they were missing. That's the whole story. But we'll get into the details. So
Don't
we'll
turn
start.
off. There's more to come.
We'll get into the background first, like we usually do. Do you want to do the Facebooks first, or?
Yeah. So the two women involved are Jilian Kelley, who is 39, and Veronica Butler, who is 27. Their Facebooks are still up. I've linked them in the blog if you want to check them out. Veronica's last post was at the end of February. She posted her kids. She's got a bunch of photos of the kids on there. Jillian's was a lot more recent. It's hard for me because of the time zone, but I think she maybe posted it on March 29, which is the day before she went missing. And she posted about Easter baskets. So that was obviously coming up around that time. It's just like I find it always a little bit eerie when their social media is so current and basically we just don't know what happened to these women yet.
Her last post, Jilian, was March 29th at 9:03 a.m.
Yeah, so it says looking for something to add to your Easter baskets, and it's some basically about some gift cards that you can add. So right before basically she disappeared, so very eerie.
It's always weird too. We've talked about before when someone dies or something happens and you look at their Instagram, they still have like an Instagram story up.
Yeah, I always find that so strange. And like 12 hours ago, they were alive, and maybe they had no idea what was about to happen to them. It's crazy.
It's kind of just like mortality slapping you in the face with a wake up call of being like, wow.
This morning, foul play now suspected in the case of two missing mothers. Authorities urgently trying to find the women after what they're calling a suspicious disappearance.
We're piecing everything that we can together right now.
The two were last seen Saturday. 39-year-old Jilian Kelley hopping in the car with 27-year-old Veronica Butler to pick up Veronica's 6-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son to celebrate her daughter's birthday, according to ABC affiliate KVII. But the two never arrived.
We have not identified a suspect or suspects at this time. Now, we are continuing to look at everybody who could be involved.
Local authorities recovering the small blue SUV they were in, abandoned along a highway south of the Kansas border. Investigators saying analysis based on what they found in that SUV has revealed evidence to indicate foul play.
That Texas County area, there aren't a lot of people that live in that area, and it's a very rural area, but the people who are there, they're very, very concerned about this right now.
So Veronica, she was born in 1996. Her parents are Seth Verner and Amanda Dean Verner. Veronica was engaged at the time she vanished to Tracy Peets. Jilian is originally from Gearing, Nebraska. She's married to Heath Kelley, who served as a pastor at Hugoton and currently serves as a minister at a church in Nebraska. Jilian also serves as a secretary at Hugoton First Christian Church. The couple has 4 children, including 2 sons and 2 daughters. But the children involved in this story that they were going to pick up are Veronica's children. She split with their father, Wrangler Cole Rickman, years ago, and the couple have gone through courts over the years. There's lots of court documents that we've posted on the blog as well. Wrangler and Veronica went back and forth over the years regarding custody of their children. Court documents allege that Veronica's brother sexually assaulted the children and that she continued to let him see them. Due to this, she was only allowed to have supervised visitation with the children.
So I won't read out the whole court document because I feel like it's, you'll get eyes glazed over, but they're all on the blog if you want to read them properly. But this is just a section about that sexual abuse. It says, on September 25th, 2023, an order was filed in this matter, and it goes on to say basically the court entered a no-contact order with respect to CV, who is Veronica's brother, and the minor children, ordering that Veronica could not allow the children to have contact with CV. On March 30th, 2022, the court found that CV sexually abused the party's minor children. The court was not convinced that Miss Butler had allowed CV to have contact with them on previous occasions when the allegations were brought before the court. The court finds that the children's therapy notes reveal that she did allow them, CV, to have contact with them. And then basically it goes on to say the defendant shall have visitation on Saturdays from 8 till 5 and telephone visitation Sunday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that is why, one of the main reasons why, because when I looked through all the court documents, there was a lot of back and forth, and Veronica did have custody of the children at one point, I believe. But the most recent update is that due to this alleged sexual assault, she had to have supervised visitation with her children.
So Wrangler also has a criminal past. He had most recently been arrested. He'd most recently been released from prison on March 22nd, 2024. So a little bit before this happened, like a week before this happened. And he was ordered to go straight into a court-appointed rehab. And he was in this facility at the time the women vanished.
Yeah, we've got the court documents regarding this. It says basically he was incarcerated and he was released on this day, and then he went into the Salvation Army, Oklahoma City, from the 22nd of March. So, but there was not even really a gap between him getting out of prison and between him going to rehab. It says that he will be in that rehab until September 2024. So
does that count as like an alibi for him? Is he always supervised there? Is it like he's...
Well,
like he can't just go out and about?
Yeah, and I know we always say it's always the husband, and maybe it might be in a roundabout way, but I feel like he definitely couldn't have been at the scene at the time.
Right.
As far as I haven't seen that suggested anywhere that there was a way, like, he wasn't out, had day release or anything like that. I feel like he seems to have been under pretty strict lock and key.
Yeah, okay. That was the impression I got too.
Yeah.
So Jilian was one of 4 people approved by the court to be a supervisor during Veronica's visits with the children, and that's why they were traveling together, because they were on the way to pick up the children from their paternal grandmother's home to take them to a birthday party. But they never arrived to pick up the children.
So there is a court document online that outlines Jilian. They actually call her Jilian Kelley. But anyway, Jilian Kelley as being one of the people allowed to supervise the visitations. There's been a lot of talk online too about if they were friends. Most things say they weren't actually friends. They were just acquaintances. I'm assuming Jilian had done this for Veronica before, like she had supervised the visits before. So like they weren't doing this. Jilian wasn't doing this just as a friend helping another friend. She was doing this as part of a court order to supervise the visits, which makes it even sadder for her that she got caught up in this somehow.
I think I skipped over, because there's an age gap between them, and I don't think I said it. Veronica is 27 and Jilian is 39.
Yeah.
So bit of an age difference between them. Not that they couldn't be friends, but just
and I feel like too that, like, I'm just reading between the lines that because of Jillian's kind of community history, she's the pastor's wife, she's involved in the church, it seems like she would be quite a reliable person to supervise these type of visits.
Yeah, but you're right, it does make it, I mean, it's sad either way, but especially when she was kind of just doing this as like a favor, as a nice thing to do. So their vehicle was found near Highway 95 and Road L in rural Texas County, Oklahoma, which is just south of Elkhart, Kansas, which is a rural, I hate saying that word. It's very hard for my mouth to say that word. A rural community on the southern border of the state. There's a bunch of different articles stating that different people found the car. So News Nation says that Veronica's partner was the one who found the car. So it said, Veronica Butler, 27, Jilian Kelley, 39, disappeared Saturday without a trace except for an abandoned car found by Butler's husband on the side of the road.
I'm a bit disappointed in News Nation for that, because I still don't actually know who found the car, because we'll get into that, but they weren't even married, so maybe News Nation.
That's what I thought. Okay.
No, they were just fiancés or engaged, so it's a little bit of a error there anyway, but they do say that Veronica's partner found the car.
Brian Enton and Alex Capariello definitely did not work on that story because they are professionals. So Fox News said that Jillian's husband and his friend were the ones who found the vehicle. Their article says Singer, so that's Singer is the friend, his last name, added that the women were driving to pick up Veronica's children on Saturday to take them back to a birthday party. When he received word they never made it to their destination, Singer said he and Jillian's husband got in a car and drove in the direction they believed that they were heading, only to encounter their abandoned vehicle surrounded by law enforcement. So, I mean, I guess that's not them saying they found it if, like, law enforcement was already there, but still no mention of Veronica's partner.
I feel like, in that one too, it's like they came across the car without being told by law enforcement.
Like, no one called them.
Yeah, and said, hey, we found the car. They got out, apparently drove, and apparently came across the car.
Yeah. And then on April 6th, it was said that law enforcement were the ones to find the abandoned vehicle initially. Hunter McKee from the OBSI said the abandoned vehicle was found by Texas County deputies. So not sure who actually found the car first, but it was found.
There was a video which has actually been taken down now. I just went to have another look at it, but it was on Facebook, and basically someone was driving. I don't know if it was a dash cam or they were filming from within the car. And so they were driving kind of up this straight road, and this car was found kind of to the left. So you can see basically there's a line of police cars surrounding this other car. Like I've said to someone who I was discussing this case with, I feel like there must have been a lot found at the car for them to warrant this amount of police attention. Like in this photo here, I can see at least 8 police cars, and I feel like there was even more in the video that I've seen before. So
yeah,
I
was
would
a lot.
Yeah, they do, we'll get into it, but they do say there was signs of foul play, but I feel like there must have been a lot found there for them to have that amount of police attention.
Also, small town. They're probably all like, let me get in on this.
Yeah. I did read an article this morning too, and they were saying that the drive the women were meant to go on was 16 miles, and where the car was found was around 3 miles away from where they were meant to end up at. So
close.
Yeah. So when the car was found, the OSBI appealed for information. This is their press release. It says, on March 30, 2024, the Texas County Sheriff's Department requested the OSBI to investigate the suspicious disappearance of Veronica and Jilian. It just goes to say where their vehicle was found. And then it says, the OSBI would like to thank Texas County Sheriff's Office, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and several other agencies. Has photos of the women. So basically they just appealed for more information, for anyone to contact them. So Veronica's stepmother, Guadalupe Torres, and her father, Clinton Butler, separately told NBC News that Veronica had been engaged in a heated custody dispute at the time of the disappearance. I believe that Wrangler's mother, Tifany, was the one who had custody of the children. So obviously this had been going on for years. All the court documents support that. So the women were last seen on March 30. On April 3rd, Hunter McKee, who we mentioned earlier, told NBC that there were currently no suspects in the investigation and no threats against the women had been reported. Despite this, though, he told ABC News that there's every reason to believe that they could be in danger. He said it's a very rural area. They're nowhere to be found. The fact that we've had no contact with them for this long. He said agents are still working around the clock on this to try to find out where these women are and what may have occurred. So around this time, it was also confirmed that there was evidence of foul play in this case. This is the update from the OSBI. It says, based on the information obtained from the victim's vehicle, our investigators believe there was evidence to indicate foul play. And they also said, we are still searching for these victims and there are no arrests at this time. We ask anyone with information to contact us. So I found that kind of interesting because a lot of the theories I was reading online at the time was that maybe Veronica had done something to Jilian, maybe, in an attempt to go and get her children. Like there was a whole bunch of theories being thrown around. But then the OSBI basically said that both of these women are thought to be victims, which is interesting. Police haven't specified what evidence of foul play there is, but I feel like in some cases where there's rumor, in true crime cases where there's rumor, a lot of the time it does end up being true. And a lot of the repeated rumor I have seen is that there was a bloody hammer and pools of blood found at the scene. I have seen some reports say it was a sledgehammer, others just say hammer. It was also rumored that the car windows had been smashed out, which would make, I feel like this surely has to be something along these lines for the police to have the response that they did. Like then if there's just a car abandoned on the side of the road, they're not going to have multiple police cars there. I feel like this was a bloody scene, an obvious
like a crime
scene. There's been no real confirmation as to if their phones have been found. From what I've read, I believe they haven't found the phones. But they obviously can't get any location data from them or anything like that. I did read, obviously I've been just kind of keeping an eye on this online, that Veronica, I believe it looked like she was online on Messenger at one point, but, obviously that could just be whoever had her phone. Mm-hmm. So members of Jilian's church made posts asking for prayer following their disappearance. She said, this is the post, I want to ask for your prayers for the Kelley family. It goes on to kind of name some members of Jilian's family. It says Jilian was accompanying Veronica on a supervised visit to Veronica's children in Oklahoma. Their car was found on the side of a rural road and law enforcement agencies are actively searching for them. And then it asks for their prayers. People in the town of Hugoton have been placing yellow ribbons to show support for the families involved and also to indicate that they aren't giving up hope and that the search is active. One business owner says she's working with others to put up these yellow ribbons around the community. She said so many people would come in and maybe buy one bow to take home, or maybe they'd buy 3 or 4, and the donations were wonderful and just the support. They have raised over $2,000 so far, which will go to support the missing women's families. And they've also put some yellow ribbons up at the site where the abandoned car was found. So, as we mentioned, there has been hardly any public information given in this case. At the time that we're recording, the women have been missing for almost 2 weeks. It'll probably be 3 weeks almost by the time this episode comes out. And there is basically no new information. The USBI has told Fox News Digital that it's becoming more and more challenging to find the women alive as the days mount with no signs of them. 2 days ago on April 9th, Hunter McKee, who's their spokesman, made another statement. He said it's a lot of land, middle of nowhere, so searches are still continuing. We are still working on talking with multiple people and hopefully we can find something soon. So today, the only update is that the FBI are now involved. This is an article from KWCH. It says the FBI is now assisting in the search for 2 missing women from Southwest Kansas. The outlet reported that the FBI is helping. That's it. Like, it's just, it's so crazy that there seems to be so much media attention in this case, but there is actually so little confirmed information. There's so many rumors online, so many theories online. There's Facebook groups, all that for them if you want to go and check it out. My thoughts are that there are 3 main theories. The first, I feel, is that something happened to them because of the custody dispute. The second is that this was a random attack. And the third, which I find very highly unlikely, is that they ran off intentionally. I guess the fourth could be that maybe one of the women hurt the other woman and is in hiding. Again, I feel that's now very unlikely. My personal thought is that this surely has to be a targeted attack, probably related to the custody and the, ongoing disputes that she was having. I just can't imagine, like, if it was a random attack, finding these women somehow driving along this rural road. I have so many questions. How did they get the car to stop? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's all these different things. And one theory I've read, and this is what kind of makes the most sense to me, is maybe there was a plan made for the women to pick up the children on this road instead of at the grandmother's house. Say, hey, meet us here. We're just driving. We'll drop the kids off at this road. And that's how they kind of lured them there, and whatever happened. And the other thing is, I feel like if this was a random, well, even if it was a targeted attack, what if any, maybe if, obviously the hammer being found is rumor, but it's been repeated. So I feel like it may be true, but it seems like a sloppy crime scene as well. Who's leaving a hammer, a bloody hammer that, was used to knock out windows and whoever knows what else. And then how did they move these women? Like, I just have so many questions, and we have literally no information. Like,
yeah, it seems like there should definitely be DNA or fingerprints.
Yeah, there should be, you would think, phone data, location data, communication. Even if it was a random attack, why did they pull over? Why did they get off the road? Or what,
I wonder if there's any damage to the car, like flat tires, besides if the windows were knocked out. But.
Yeah. And they haven't confirmed again, so we're just speculating. And I have seen many people, like the info about the hammer and the blood comes from locals who are like, I drove past and I saw this, or, I just feel like it is somewhat true that there was a very obvious crime scene there. Mm-hmm. I guess the details of what that is up for debate, but
yeah. So again, that's not confirmed. That's just what local people are saying. So before anyone's like, you're spreading misinformation.
I feel like the general consensus online is that this was custody related for some reason. They wanted to get Veronica out of the picture, and Jilian was basically collateral in whatever happened. I've read a bunch of names of Wrangler's family online. We're not going to say them because the police haven't named any suspects yet. So if there are any updates or any people of interest named, we will maybe post an update or talk about it in another episode, depending on how long it takes. But I can't think of any other possibilities that really could have happened to them besides those ones that we've just discussed.
Crazy, because even that one, I'm like, I don't know, it still seems like a stretch, just because I know that he seems like the most likely person, but the circumstances make it seem unlikely. Like, they're driving down this random road, which sure, maybe it's like the path they normally drive on, and he's in some rehab, and I don't know, it just seems like it'd be so much to coordinate. But like, what else? It would have to be something just kind of random than otherwise, unless there's more secrets in their lives that we don't know about. Could obviously be the case.
Maybe
I don't even know what to think.
Like, and obviously speculating because I don't know, but maybe, for example, Veronica was involved in something else and she was going to stop and maybe pick something up, or I don't know. Like, I guess it could be something along those lines that's not custody related. But I feel like sometimes, what is obvious is probably going to be what it ends up being.
Yeah, it's how I usually feel too, but just like there's nothing even hinting really at anything.
Some comments I've read say that where the car was found is near where Veronica used to go to school, or a school that Veronica was familiar with. So maybe it was like, hey, meet me near the school and we will exchange the children, or you can pick up this product, or whatever the meeting situation was. Maybe that's why that location was picked. I just feel like it just doesn't seem random to me. I feel like this doesn't scream like a random attack.
It'd be too hard unless it was just like those stories that you hear that I don't always think are real, but how they're like, oh, if you see like this in the road, it's a trap. But then I think about what happened with Jared Bridegan. That was still, it was his ex, but it was like a setup trap basically.
Yeah, and that was in like middle of suburbia. Yeah. I'm just looking at another photo of where the car was found, and there's literally nothing. It's just barren land and like a dirt road.
So there had to have been another car
around. Yeah. It doesn't look like in that area there would be any cameras or anything like that, because there is literally nothing there. Like obviously there would be cameras before and after, but not anywhere in that. Like that seems like that area was picked for a reason.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's the way they normally drove, or like you said, it was like a planned spot or...
So as of the time of recording, the women are still missing. In terms of their physical description, if you are in the area, Veronica has several tattoos, including a Chinese symbol on her left forearm and a sunflower on her left shoulder. Veronica is 5'4" with red hair and green eyes, and she was last seen in a blue short sleeve shirt, denim shorts, and Hey Dude shoes. And so Jilian has a butterfly tattooed on her left arm. She has brown hair and blue eyes, which is interesting because there are some photos of her with blonde hair, but I guess at the time she had brown hair. And she was last seen wearing whitewashed blue jeans, a long sleeve shirt, and tan colored shoes. And if you have any information, contact the OSBI with any tips or details. We do have, we've actually got a lot of chat in our groups on this. I think we're up to like 5,000 comments or something like that. So there is, if you want to do a deep dive about who could possibly be involved, come over to the Facebook group and check it out. But a very mysterious case, like it is. Where have these women just vanished to? I just, I have so many questions.
Yeah. Be interested to see what comes out about it. If there are any updates between now and when this comes out, I'll put in a clip here. Who knows with this one? I thought that they would have been found or something else would have come out by now, but there's been really nothing.
This morning, new developments in the search for Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. The two moms from Kansas have been missing for 2 weeks. Their car found abandoned just over the Kansas-Oklahoma border. Authorities saying in a statement there was evidence of foul play. On Saturday, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation stating these 4 people were arrested in connection with the case. Tad Cullum, Tifany Adams, and Cora Twombly were all booked on charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. NBC affiliate KFOR reporting Adams is the grandmother of Veronica Butler's children, and that at least 2 of the suspects arrested were known to her. Court documents obtained by NBC News show Butler and the father of her children have been in an ongoing custody battle. The 2 women were reported missing on March 30th after driving from Hugoton, Kansas to pick up their children. Authorities say the case has been incredibly challenging due to the rural location. Hunter McKee is with Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation.
There are not a lot of homes, no businesses, no other buildings, and usually you can use cameras and footage to see maybe what had occurred or what had led up to that.
Now a grief-stricken Kansas community is looking for answers.
It's absolutely devastating. They were both young and vibrant, and they deserved more.
Yellow ribbons tied around town as a sign of hope.
As the days roll by, it's just getting harder and harder to stay positive and keep the faith.
Hi guys, it's Olivia here. The day after we recorded, there were some really big updates in the case. So I just wanted to jump on quickly and go through them because essentially it provides a bit of a resolution in this case. The day after we recorded, the OSBI released the following statement. It says, on April 13, 43-year-old Tad Cullum, 54-year-old Tifany Adams, 50-year-old Cora Twombly and 44-year-old Cora Twombly were arrested in Texas and Cimarron counties. All 4 individuals were booked into the Texas County Jail on 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree. So just as some background into these people, Tifany is the mother of Wrangler, who is the father of Veronica's children. So essentially, Tifany is Veronica's ex-mother-in-law. Tad is her partner. Tifany is the person who did have custody of Veronica's children. She was the one who Veronica and Jilian were going to meet with to take the children to the party on the day that they disappeared. So police released their mugshots. We've posted them all over our stories in the blog if you want to check them out. But around the time of the arrests, Jillian's mother, Kaylee Dalby, made the following posts online. She wrote, "The grandma has confessed to killing them both. The grandma is Tifany." And then she also wrote, "Jilian has passed away." So this was, at the time of the arrests, the bodies weren't found. The women were still missing and the OSBI said they were still looking. News Nation did release some articles alleging that both women had actually been shot and that blood was found both in the car and around the car that was abandoned. At the time of recording this, that still hasn't been confirmed, but I suspect is probably true. On Sunday, so that's today at the time of recording, the OSBI tweeted the following info. It says, "Today, the OSBI, FBI, and the Texas County Sheriff's Office recovered 2 deceased persons in rural Texas County. They also said both individuals will be transported to the office of the Oklahoma Chief Medical Examiner to determine identification and the cause and manner of death." So they haven't confirmed that the people found are the women. I feel like it's going to be them. We don't really know anything else either about Cole and Cora's association. If we do get something before this episode is released, we will release it. There is some speculation that the bodies were possibly found on Cole and Cora's property. Again, not confirmed, but I feel like this case ended up pretty much how we thought it might go in terms of the custody dispute seemingly being the catalyst for everything to happen. A very sad outcome, especially for Jillian's family when she was doing the right thing by trying to supervise a visit between Veronica and the children. But I guess at least there is some resolution now. So we will keep you guys updated if there is anything else that comes out before this episode is released. But there have been some arrests and the women have been recovered by the authorities. And since we first recorded, the affidavits have been released regarding the 4 arrests that have been made in the case. And we've learned quite a lot of new information from those documents. So we've learned that Tifany Adams, who is the grandmother of Veronica's children, so that is Wrangler's mother, Tifany's ex's mother, I know it's hard to keep track of, but basically Tifany's ex-mother-in-law, that she preferred the visits with Veronica's children to be supervised by a woman named Cheryl Brune. The court said that if Tifany wanted to choose the supervisor, she would have to pay for it. Otherwise, Veronica could pick from the court-appointed list and pay that person. Tifany told Veronica that Cheryl was not available for the visit on the 30th of March, which is when the women disappeared. So Veronica then asked Jilian Kelley to supervise. Investigators interviewed Cheryl and she said that she had actually been available to supervise on that day, but she said that Tifany told her to take a few weeks off from visitation duties. Tifany told Cheryl she wanted to question the children as to how the other supervisors were, and that was why she wanted Cheryl to take a few weeks off. The documents also confirmed that some of Veronica's families were the one to find the abandoned vehicle first, after the women did not show up for their visit as planned. This is direct from the document. It says, Melissa and Joey Padillo, who were Butler's family members, located Butler's abandoned vehicle just west of the intersection. They contacted law enforcement at 12:09 p.m. An examination of the vehicle and area surrounding the vehicle found evidence of a severe injury. Blood was found on the roadway and the edge of the roadway. Veronica's glasses were found in the roadway south of the vehicle near a broken hammer. A pistol magazine was found inside Jillian's purse at the scene, but no pistol was found. So that did confirm what we'd spoken about earlier, that there was a hammer found at the scene. Tifany told the OSBI that she had called Veronica at 9 a.m. to confirm the meeting that day and the planned pickup. She told police that Veronica had told her something had come up and that she wasn't going to make it. But when police looked into the phone records, they discovered that at that time, Veronica was actually picking up Jillian to go to the meetup as planned. So Tifany's story didn't quite add up with the phone data. Police also found out that the women's phones stopped transmitting signals at around 9:42 a.m. on March 30. Neither phone was found at the scene, and to date, both devices have not been recovered. The affidavit gives maybe a clue to the motive as in this case. It states that there was due to be a hearing in the custody case on April 17th, and it was thought that Veronica was likely to be granted unsupervised visitation with her children from that point onwards. According to the documents, Wrangler, Tifany's son and Veronica's ex, spoke about death threats that had been made by Tifany and her partner Tad. Tifany also refused to let Wrangler see his own children on occasion, even though he had legal custody of them. So I feel like this is giving us the picture about the control that Tifany had over the whole entire family. Wrangler's grandmother, Debbie Knox Davis, said that in February 2024, Wrangler told her they didn't have to worry about the custody battle much longer as Tifany had it under control. Wrangler also apparently said that Tifany knew the path the judge walked to work and that, quote, "we will take out Veronica at drop-off." So Wrangler has denied, though, that this conversation ever took place. Police searched Tifany's phone data and found that she'd searched for taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cell phones, and how to get someone out of their house. So according to the affidavit, police also interviewed CW, who's the 16-year-old daughter of Cole and Cora Twombly. The teen said that Cora told her that all 4 of the people who have now been arrested, as well as a man named Paul Grice, were involved in the deaths of the women. She said Tifany had given Cora 2 burner phones so that they could communicate, and the daughter said that she saw these on Cora's nightstand. This is a direct excerpt from the affidavit. It says CW described Cora, Cole, Adams, Cullum, so they're the 4 who were arrested, plus Paul Grice, as being part of an anti-government group that had religious affiliation. Through OSBI investigation, it was learned that they call their group God's Misfits. They hold regular meetings at the Twomleys and the home of Barrett and Lacey Cook. So CW, the teen, said that her parents told her they would not be home on the morning of March 30 as they were going on, quote, a mission. She woke up at 10 a.m. and they weren't there, but they got back at 12. CW asked her mother what had happened, and she was told that things did not go as planned, but they wouldn't have to worry about Veronica again. CW said that Cora and Cole blocked the road to stop the women. So that's when we were discussing earlier, how do they get them to stop? It seems like it was because there were multiple people involved. Cora and Cole got them to pull over, and then it seems like allegedly Tifany and Tad conducted the murders. CW asked her mother if the bodies were put in a well, and Cora replied something like that. CW also said there were previous attempts to kill Veronica in February 2024. The group's previous plan to kill her involved throwing an anvil through her windshield while she was driving. They thought it would look like an accident, as apparently anvils always fall off vehicles onto windshields, killing people. And this didn't work at the time because Veronica didn't leave the house when they thought she was going to back in February, so that plan was thwarted at the time. On March 23rd, 2024, Tifany purchased 5 stun guns at a store in Oklahoma, and they found that she had purchased 3 prepaid phones at a Walmart in February 2024. All 3 of these phones were found to be in the area near where Veronica's vehicle was found. So the affidavit does go into quite a lot of information about the numbers and where each number was located on the day. So I've put the affidavit on the blog if you want to check it out and get kind of into the more technical phone details. 2 of the numbers were known to be at a property owned by Jamie Beasley on the morning of the 30th. Concrete was moved on the property and a hole had been dug and then filled back in and covered with hay. All of the prepaid phones stopped transmitting on the morning of March 30 at the locations near the Twomley's place and also near the Beasley's property. So the document goes into how Tad is connected to Jamie Beasley's property. It says, Beasley advised that the dirt work was done with a skid steer by Tad on March 29th, 2024. So that was the day before the women disappeared, and was possibly finished on March 30 in the morning hours. Beasley knew that Tad left his skid steer at the property on the night of March 29th, and when he awoke on March 30 at approximately 1200 hours, the skid steer was gone. Tad rents the pasture property owned by Beasley for cattle grazing and has access to it at any time. On March 28 or 29, Tad asked Beasley if he could cut a tree down, remove a stump, bury some concrete, do dirt work where a concrete pile was and below the dam. Tifany was with Tad at the property when that conversation was had. They also learned through this that Tad and Tifany were their significant others. Beasley agreed to let Tad do the work, and Tad brought up the idea of doing this work to Beasley. On Sunday, March 31, in the morning hours, Tad was at Beasley's house and told Beasley that police were looking for him in the disappearance of Veronica and Jilian. Tad told Beasley that he didn't want people to cause problems for him and that all the skid steer marks on his property without a skid steer looked bad, And Jamie Beasley said that if anyone asked, he would tell them that Tad had done tree and dirt work for him. So that's the extent of, or I guess a summary of the information in the affidavits. All 4 affidavits are exactly the same, just, obviously individualized slightly for each arrestee. So we have learnt a fair bit more about the likely timeline of the day, the timeline leading up to it, the plan. I feel like it's crazy with this God's Misfits side story thrown in, but as the days go on, I'm no doubt there'll be more information, so we will put some more clips in here, or we will do an update in another upcoming episode if there is a lot more to talk about. But that is it up to date with the Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley case.
And check us out on Patreon. We do ad-free episodes for all the episodes. We also do weekly bonus episodes that they used to be like mini episodes, but they're all like hitting around 45 minutes lately. So, basically just like another episode a week. And we have some fun chats on Patreon. Lots of good stuff. It's a cute little community. So you can check us out there. And that's really it. All the same stuff. Rate, review, subscribe, share to your Instagram stories. It's a big help to us when you guys do that. Hope you guys have a good rest of the week, even though this will be in the future, and that nothing else crazy happens.
a good rest of your week next week.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and stay safe. Peace out.